I checked it last time. I couldn't hear anything. But all I'm saying is, welcome back to another show, Unchained with Paul Gomez, and
give me more.
I'm telling you, you got to work on that spacing. You got to be a little bit closer. So we're here on another week. We got a great set of topics, and we got an amazing guest that we're going to be bringing in a few moments. But before we do, we want to talk about our sponsor,
Geek Out
in Burleson, Texas, which is we're gonna show off some of the merchandise next week, which includes shirts and maybe even a hoodie.
For me, yeah.
My hoodie. Man, I hope it's nice and plush and
hope it's nice
comfy, and I'm gonna enjoy it right next to you.
Keeps you down.
Geek Out is an amazing store, not only comics, but it has card games and board games and
tabletop games and
sculptures. It's just amazing. It is one of the biggest stores here in DFW Metroplex. It's in Burleson, Texas. If you haven't been, you've got to go at least once. I promise you, you will not regret it. Geek Out, Burleson, Texas, comic books and games. Check it out. Now, without further ado, bring in our special guest, if you would, please.
Drum roll, please. You got to do drum roll.
I don't do drum rolls. Manny. I always mess up your name. So if you don't mind, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Manuel Carmona. My name is cool, man.
Yeah, see, I can't do the R thing. I usually can do the R thing on most things, but it's like sometimes I just can't. How you doing, Manny? How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been too long, bro.
Man, it's been like a year, hasn't it?
Yeah. Woo. Time flies, man.
I don't know if you know or not, but right whenever I was starting to get into the comic industry, I got on some shows at Comic Crusaders.
Yeah.
And it was two shows, and correct me if I'm wrong, Thundercats and Think Indie. And it was one show one week and the other show the other week. And it was me, Manny, and Dodgy. Man, it was a great time.
It was fun, man.
Yeah. So the Thundercats was really talking about established publishers, smaller ones, and kind of reviewing some of their stuff. Think Indie went into webtoons and some of the stuff that was on Kickstarters or crowdfunding and stuff. And so we had the best of both worlds. And I was just jumping into creating comics. So it was great to be able to, see all this stuff that y'all had been into for a while before I got into it.
Yeah. I love that, man.
And you got a few comics about yourself. If you don't mind, let's talk about that real fast. How many comics have you been on?
I've been in a few. I got my own Project New Wave. I've been featured in this comic called I can't even remember what's it? This is like a Spanish name, but it was basically to get funds for Hurricane Maria victims in Puerto Rico. I was featured there. Right now, I was part of this sci-fi anthology called The Avengers Theory, and we're about to kickstart the second issue. I think is at the end of this month, September 30th. The Kickstarter launches. And I've done covers for different publishers. I've done covers for my friend Alvaro Cortez for his book The Mighty Warlord. I've done a few things, man.
Now I hadn't seen everything that you've done, but I definitely have seen your Project New World. That was great, beautiful.
Thank you, man.
I don't really talk about the art in a lot of comics because I don't really want to offend people or give my advice or whatnot. I don't want to ever overstep my bounds is what I'm trying to say. But man, I did look through your, I read your books, and so beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I definitely got to get you on one of my covers one of these days.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah,
gonna.
yeah. We've talked about that, but we have to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it just didn't line up before, but we definitely got to figure that out sooner rather than later.
We will. We will.
So, and like I was saying, this is a topical show. We do hit on a few topics, and one of the great topics that I've actually mentioned before was, you know, Indie Comic Day.
Right.
And this is something that you're very involved with, and I don't think that a lot of people know or understand what it is. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. Yeah. A few years ago, I got together with different people from the internet that I've never met in real life. And we came up with this idea basically at the same time. This other guy is called Phil Buck, and basically it was, kind of like the free comic book day thing. We thought we don't there's not like an independent comic day, so we started bouncing ideas off each other. I started promoting this idea, and at the same time he put out this logo, and I was like, whoa, this is the same concept that I had. So we communicated each other, and that's how it was created basically. But the main idea is take one day out of the year, and between local comic shops, between different publishers, indie creators, and just focus on that day to push our own books and each other's books. And it's basically, I call it like indie comics Christmas. Is basically I want all the focus to be on not just my books but every indie book.
And this is a great event, and like I said, I don't think many people really know about it.
Right.
I mentioned it to a few people, and it's kind of hard to get stuff started, especially whenever people are kind of not, independent people are a little bit, I don't want to say self-involved or self-motivated, but having something like Indie Comic Day, it's a great motivation for everybody to get out there and kind of promote, indie comics.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that a lot of people on the indie front would really know about it, but it's been slow to catch on. How new is this?
It's been a few years. I think we started in 2017 or 16,
Wow.
and right before the pandemic, it got really huge. We got in touch with this guy named Carmelo Chimera from Chicago, from Illinois, and he used to have two comic book shops.
Right.
I think he sold one of them, and he still has one. And we basically joined forces and we started pushing it. And that year, I think it was 2019. We celebrated Buying the Comics Day in Australia, in Europe, in Mexico, Puerto Rico, Canada, and the United States. So it was like a huge, huge year. And then COVID hit,
Right.
and everything went to hell.
Yeah, you kind of put
So
the brakes on just about everything around those
yeah,
years.
and that year, for some reason, a few big name indie creators started pushing it, and it spread like wildfire. But that's the main thing is if you don't have a big name attached to it,
Right.
people don't won't even give you the light of day. Like, the thing with Free Comic Book Day, for example, the main reason why that is so huge is because it's Diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond pushes it to the comic shops because those comic books they hand out for free, but the comic book shops still have to buy them.
Right.
They buy them at a very low price, but they still have to pay for them. It's just because it's Diamond, they're pushing the idea. And the comic book shops, you know how it is. It's Diamond is their their world. So if I had somebody, let's say, just throw a name out there, like Tom McFarlane, for example, and he decided to tweet about it or push it, it will blow up, because of the following that he has. But for some reason, it hasn't happened yet. But
Well, it's
we keep pushing and see what happens.
definitely, it's hard to get something, like I said, started up, and independent art comic book creators are usually kind of just with their blinders on, if you would.
Yeah.
And I asked the question a while back. What are you doing to help the industry, not just your book? And man,
Yeah.
whenever I asked that question, your name came up because you do
Yeah.
so much. And I've taken note throughout my past 2 years that I've been in the industry, but I've taken note that you've done so much, and it's like people haven't taken notice. So I definitely wanted to have you on. Like I was saying, we definitely have to get a show with me, you, and Dodgy one day, a reunion. But
Oh God, yes.
but I really wanted to get a show and talk about the Indie Comic Day and talk about the other projects that you have.
Yeah.
What is it that motivates you to get these projects going?
I think it's a sense of it's very much what how you feel. Like I've seen a few episodes of your show, and you said at one point that you did it mostly for your kids. You wanted your kids to get into comics, to see your work, and that's basically why I started. I wanted to, when I first came out with my book, I was looking more for an adult theme, but then I was like, if I do this adult theme, my kids won't be able to read it.
Right.
So I basically rewrote the whole thing, restructured the whole thing, because if they don't enjoy it, then what's the point? That's
Right.
the way I feel. So I've been approached by different publishers and different people to do adult comics and stuff like that, like adult
Yep.
adult comics and stuff like that. And I've turned them down. I'm like, nah, that ain't for me. I want to do something that my kids can enjoy. So
Right.
that's basically my motivation. Is my kids. I want them to be proud and like when they have like a career day at school, they can say, yeah,
Yeah.
my dad draws comic books and stuff like that, and that's better than an ice cream for me.
I got to agree with you. I was just at a con this past weekend. I don't like to toot my own horn that often, but we were right by Texas A&M, which is a huge college. And I
Oh yeah.
actually had a professor, ask me for the rights to use my book in her class. And I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
man, that's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in comics. To
Right.
think that I would have a book that's being taught in a classroom. I mean, besides the fact of the stuff that my kids have been involved with my books, that's probably probably the best feeling that I've had.
Yeah.
So man, like I said, I honestly think that you've been doing things and you've been doing things the right way. I see all these other comic creators, and I'm not saying that that they have to be doing stuff for the community or the industry, but to see somebody that's doing so much and doesn't really have to, and that's a
Right.
great thing, because I mean you're giving a little bit of yourself into it. Now we've talked about Indie Comic Day. I want to talk a little bit about you know uh, comics for Christmas.
Right.
How did you get involved with this?
Well, comics for Christmas. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I saw many kids that didn't have the best Christmas, right?
Right.
You know, money wise and stuff like that. And my wife had a rough upbringing too. So when we got to a point where we were, I'm not gonna say that we're wealthy or anything like that, but to a point where we were comfortable. I wanted to do something for the community. I've always been like that. I've always wanted to help the community any way I can, but I wanted to do something for kids specifically. And Christmas to me is like that's my holiday. That's my thing. So I wanted to do something for the community and for the kids, and I told my wife that I wanted to do it, but I wanted to have it be around something that I loved. Because sometimes if you go like to a low income area, or neighborhood or something like that, and you start like handing out food and stuff like that, people might react a different way. Like they don't even know you. Who are you? Like you know what I'm saying? Like they might take it the wrong way. So I was like, why don't we bring in like comic books to different like to kids that are having a rough Christmas, maybe in a hospital. And my wife loved the idea, so she was like, all right, well let's go for it. Let's see where this goes. We started in 2011, and if you know we haven't stopped ever since. We basically buy comics throughout the year, and around starting November this year we started in September, but
Yeah, I
usually
noticed.
around November we start going to hospitals and we start bringing comics. We go to foster homes, like for group homes. Um, this year we started. They called us from this place called St. Mary's Home, and they are basically it's like a clinic, but they have disabled kids,
Right.
and they saw what we did and they invited us, and we were like, yes. When do you want us to come? And they're like, oh, in September, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Because they said, well, I know your coming for Christmas, but can you come in September? And I'm like, yeah. So we went there, and you man, it's that's you know, people have reached out to us and they want to give us money, like, and I was like, I'm always like, no, I don't really want money. If you want to donate something, you can donate, you know, comic books. Donate comic books for me, and I'll hand them out. I don't because I want this to be like my way of giving back. You know,
Right.
it's you know when you that's the way I feel like if you get to a point in life that you feel you can help others, I think you should do it. You know, I don't judge anybody for not doing it, but I just
Right.
feel that's how I was brought up. So I feel like, yeah, people say, oh, you you know, spend so much money or whatever it is, whatever that, you know, and I don't see it like that. It's just, you know, honestly, it ain't even that much money, but I'm just saying it's like it's just my way of giving back. And to me, it's not a burden. And it's even bigger for me because I always bring my kids with me.
Right.
Even for the St. Mary's home, I always bring my kids, and that's something I've ingrained in their brain. Like you have to help others. You have to help others. You have to, you know, be a kind person. That's something really big for me. And my wife is the same way. Like we're coming for Christmas to me that I can stop drawing. I could do I can stop doing everything else, but comics for Christmas I will do until I die. That's my passion to bring just to see to go to a hospital, for example. Like we've been to cancer wards and stuff like that. Kids are really really sick,
Yes.
and when they see the comics and we start, you know, I draw for them and stuff like that. Just the smile on their faces, man. That's it's worth
Amazing.
everything. It's worth like if I go to one of those like the cancer ward, I have to go through a battalion of vaccines and all this stuff. Because those kids they don't have an immune system, like because they get chemo and all that stuff, so they cannot get sick. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take anything you want me to take. I'll you know, if I even sneeze the morning after, we will cancel. And it's a sacrifice, but it is what it is. I would not, you know, I'll do it. I'll do it gladly anytime they want me to.
I think that's so amazing. You know, I've told my kids we don't have the best life, and there's times that we have to go throughout, but we don't have to struggle like a lot of other people have to,
Right,
and to be able to give back. I don't have a young kind of book. Most of my books are teenage and mature, but
right.
we find a way to give back if we can. We partnered along with ASAP Imagination, and for an entire month, we sold my book PTSD digitally, and everything that came in went straight to a charity. So
Oh, that's awesome.
for any creators out there, if you can't do it the way Manny's doing it, I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of ways to give back and be part of the community. It's great. I mean, they had that hashtag that, comics killed me. And comics really
Yeah.
saved me. I mean,
Right.
they really helped us out. We were going through a bad time, and it was really a godsend whenever we figured, hey, this might be something. And so, like I tell everybody, and I've been trying to get a kind of a charity auction going around here with everybody in the community. I tell them it doesn't take much, but I mean, if you're giving back a little bit, because this medium, this art that we are creating is giving us so much. And I know that a lot of people don't understand that, but sometimes you got to stop and realize, if you weren't making these comics, if you weren't, how do you, relieving stress, if you weren't in the community and selling this stuff, then what would you be doing? So why not give it a little
Probably be super depressed.
bit? Yeah,
Probably
right.
be God knows where, man. Yeah.
And the funny thing about comics, it's a huge community. Whenever I started getting into it, it's like a big family, and I feel like I've got all these other families, you and Dodgy and Al, and then I've got the family that helped me put the book together and go sell it. Then I've got my con family and the artists that we love to go see and bother them at the tables. Right?
What are you talking about? I don't bother no one.
But I mean, it's one of those things that comics give you so much, and sometimes I don't think creators realize just how much they're getting from it. That if they could just give a little bit back, a comic at a hospital. I know we've been at hospitals because my kid's been sick, and the small things mean the world.
They mean something. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So,
mean
man,
something.
like I say, whenever I see you doing this, whenever I see you doing the Indie Comics Day, I think, wow, I wish I could be doing half as much as you. And I hope that other people take note, because I know that they don't notice it. But, I wanted to say that, we noticed it.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. That means a lot.
But there are a lot of other stuff in the world. There are goods and bads. And one of the things I did want to talk about was the writer's strike. Have you been keeping up on the writer's strike?
I have, yeah. Yeah. I always check and see what's happening.
It's kind of an up and down, and sometimes you get a little bit of misinformation, but a lot of it has to do with the AI in it and that kind of stuff. Recently, there's been a big ordeal about some of the people crossing the line.
Right.
And I don't know if you heard about that, but some of the talk shows are kind of going back to work without really saying stuff to the approval of the writers committee. And one of the main people was Drew Barrymore. She actually got dropped from a book awards because she was crossing the line of or what they considered it. She considers it a gray area. And the thing about it is, I see it as like, if the actors do start crossing the line, is it going to impact that whole ideal of AI is okay? Because I think the writer's strike and the AI stuff is kind of connected. And that's kind of a scary thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that will lose their jobs because of the AI thing. If if they I the main thing is that big companies, big studios, they their thing is making money, right? And they'll try to gain any advantage they can, just to, it's like any company, it's like Walmart, they'll buy cheap and sell higher. It is what it is.
Well, and I don't
They
know if you saw, but Disney actually hired a group, like created a division just to figure out how they can take advantage of AI in every aspect. This is
and
Disney.
and they actually use AI for the intro for Secret. What is it? Secret Invasion
Yeah, but I mean,
for the
them
animation.
creating this group, they're even looking into the ways they can use it for Marvel and stuff, other than
Yeah,
just that. So it's like, you got this trickle down stuff, and if you see the actors starting to cross lines now, even though it's talk shows, because there's about 4 talk shows that are crossing the lines. I think it's
yeah,
The View, Drew Barrymore, and like 2 other ones that I don't remember the name of. So they're crossing the lines. We might lose that battle against AI if you know what I mean.
and that's the problem is I'm sure Drew Barrymore probably don't see it as she doesn't get the big picture, and she doesn't understand maybe. But it's there's a lot of people that are gonna lose their jobs, their livelihoods, because right now if you go online, you write a few prompts, and the AI will give you 20, 50 different script ideas from just a few prompts. But what do you do with the script writers? What do you do with all those people that have families? You know what I'm saying? Like the same because it's not only AI that writers are fighting it for. It's also
Fair pay.
royalties. Is
Yeah.
many things that artists and writers have been fighting for decades. Jack Kirby is immediately comes to mind,
Yeah.
and all these creators that create characters that we love, that we consume every day, and they don't get nothing from it, or pennies on the dollar sometimes. But if the companies can get away with just hiring AI, like hiring somebody to use AI, they won't need artists, they won't need writers.
And and again, this has happened this past week. I don't know if you heard this or not. There was a book from Image that got released that was basically made by AI. And the reason they're saying that it was okay is because the creator of the book, the art, is the artist that put his work into the AI and basically told the AI, "This is the only work I want you to pull from." So Image said it was okay because he did that.
Yeah,
Now, I mean, I, me personally, I believe if you use AI in any way, then you really can't talk bad about it at all.
right.
So them using AI, it's just going to get better and better and better, and that means it's going to leave some people behind.
Yeah,
Even if it isn't stealing from other artists, even if it is him doing it, it's not him actually sitting down drawing it. It's taking from
exactly,
his work and making this entire comic in a matter of minutes.
exactly. Yeah,
So it's like,
because if you basically put a character sheet, for example, you put it in the AI, and then you say, I want this character drawing, I want this character playing basketball. The AI will draw it, and then I can have 20 comics in a few days,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And then you're basically putting out hundreds of people from work, but not only that, it's not your hand that's doing it, it's the computer that's doing it.
Exactly,
There was
exactly.
I think a quote by a director basically saying that AI really pulls the humanity out of the art.
It does. Yeah, it does.
And I
It
think
does.
that was Tim
It's
Burton, yeah, that said that.
Yeah, he did. I did read that. I did read that. It's like you can have a machine play for example play some music, but you take a musician and have him play, and you'll never compare. It's just that human feel. Sometimes the mistakes, it's like Bob Ross used to say, mistakes are happy accidents. Sometimes you don't
Right.
want something perfect.
Well,
Sometimes you want it to look human.
and the funny thing is, I started drawing, I started doing art recently, and,
I
and I
see.
find I find the best pieces that I've done are because I how do you say it? I adjusted.
Right.
You're drawing, and instead of making it the way you think is perfect, you adjust it to make it look alive, if you would, or
Yeah.
a little bit more depth. and AI doesn't have that.
It doesn't, because
And
it's just taking from a database. It's like that's the beauty of when you have a good inker, for example.
yeah,
I can give him pencils and I know what I wanted, or how it was supposed to look. But then the inker puts his own feel and his own style of inking, and it completely becomes something that you're like, holy crap, this looks better than what I. And then the colorist comes and puts his magic in it, and it's just that's the beauty of making comics. That's the beauty of making art. It's just it's a team thing.
collaboration. Yeah.
That's what I love about it. It's just a computer will never be able to replicate that. I don't think.
Now, I mean, I know a lot of people have heard my ideals about AI, and me personally, I believe it's unfair to, how do you say it, witch hunt some of the people, because AI is legal. Is it
Right.
ethical? I don't know if that's, if it's ethical. I think that's really up for debate. But it's
Yeah.
hard to have a stance on it. But it really is something that you have to prepare for, because it's here and it's coming.
Yeah. It's not going away.
I tell people the best way to do that, is to get to know your audience.
Mhm.
You know, that's the hardest thing for a lot of creators to do, is to get to know their audience. But I mean, if you can relate to your audience, that's one thing that AI will never do, is
It's
be
that
able to
connection.
relate to your audience. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, you doing this stuff with the Indie Comic Day, you doing this stuff with Christmas, uh, comics for Christmas. This is the stuff that AI can never replace.
Right. Right.
And I think this is some of the saving grace for the industry. And I tell people, you got to think not only about yourself, but you got to think about the industry as well. You know,
Yeah. That's a huge problem. Well, in my opinion,
yeah,
that's a huge problem with indie creators. Sometimes is that is they think that if I succeed, they're not gonna succeed.
right,
You know what I say? I've never seen it like that. I've always seen it as if I have a book, if I have my book, for example,
right,
and somebody's telling me, man, yeah, I have a cousin that's going on deployment, or he's a military guy, and I was kind of looking for something, military wise, and I don't have it. Yeah, Paul Gomez right here, he has PTSD. It's not gonna hurt me
right,
because he's already not looking for what I got, but
exactly,
somebody that I know has it. So why am I gonna deprive him from that experience? Why am I gonna try to block you from making a sale just because I'm bitter, or because I'm? It makes no sense to me. And I've seen it a lot. I've been
yeah,
in conventions where somebody comes to me and tells me, like, ask me how much you charge for this drawing, and I say, well, so whatever, $40, $30, whatever. And then they look at the guy next to me, and the guy said, oh, well, if you want him to make your drawing, that he can charge you that, but I'm going to charge you way more. Like, it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
no,
you
I
can you can
agree.
right? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It-
I'm like, I don't know.
in all honesty, I've actually been up to other creators and said, "Hey, let me sell your book. Let me sell
Right,
some of your books at my table, because I know that there's a whole, like I don't have children books.
right,
Most of my books are for teenagers and above. If I had an all ages book, I know that I would be able to sell it, because I do get kids that come up to my table.
right.
I and lately with my drawings, I've been able to give them free sketches, and you see that smile on their face, and I can't give them one of my books, because it
Right.
is more of an adult theme, or
Yeah.
teenage kind of theme. But
Yeah.
that was the hole that I saw that I wanted to aim at. But if I had somebody else's book with a younger kind of theme, I would be able to sell it to these other kids coming to my table.
Yep.
But it's funny, because I get the creators that don't want to, and I'm like, I understand. It's your choice. I mean, it is your book. You know.
Yeah, whatever you want.
So that does bring up one of the last topics of the show at the moment. Actually, is could there ever be another Wizard magazine?
Oh man,
I've heard this conversation come up a lot recently, and it's kind of intriguing to me because Wizard had its place and its time, if you will. The funny thing I think about Wizard is it was so great at its time, but one of the main things that it didn't have to compete with was the internet.
The internet, exactly.
All that information that Wizard had in it, is basically offered on the internet for free.
Yeah.
I mean, how?
Yeah. The only way we could have magazines. They're a dying breed, and the only way you could be able to have that is if you have some sort of copyright that nobody could post what you post in your magazine anywhere. That's the only way I could see it happening. But I'll tell you what, man, I love Wizard.
Yeah.
That was my Bible. That was my Bible. And in
Man,
Puerto Rico, we had.
I would put money on Wizard before I bought comics. It would be like I had to have that Wizard, man, just to see if my collection went up or down. But in the new books coming out, I had to see it.
Yeah, yeah, and they introduced me to so many books that I would have never known about. Especially growing up in Puerto Rico, we had like 3 comic book shops in the whole island. Sometimes you have to travel 2 hours to go to a comic book shop if you could find it. This is before the internet. If you had a map and you were lucky that you stumbled into the comic book shop, good for you. But it was a different world, and but I was able to get Wizard magazines at this gift shop that I had in my hometown, and that's how I got to know when Image formed, when the death of Superman happened, and all this stuff that I was just introduced, and I was like, man, all these different creators, because there was a time where I saw like people saw Spider-Man and stuff like that. Nobody knew who drew it.
No,
it was just like, unless you were a comic book fan through and through, you knew about John Romita, you knew about whoever. But for the general public, yeah, there's still people that ask me, "Oh, you draw that?" Yeah. That's how you make it. There's somebody drawing it,
right?
So back in those days, it was.
It's crazy. I mean, getting into the comic creation stuff, I get to see so much stuff that's happened in the background that I never knew before. Let me ask you something. I mean, we got a teenager on this show to get his point of view on stuff. Do you know what Wizard magazine is?
Nope.
No.
Oh my God.
Would you ever buy a price guide over a comic book?
I got an app for that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, everything is on the computer, right?
I mean, it's on my phone. I wouldn't say my computer.
Well, and your phone, computer, it's the same thing. You can put apps on the computer, you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what a computer is?
No. It's a whole new.
I mean, everything is on the phone, but I mean, where do you go for your news of comics?
Google. They have my little page for myself, and it shows the stuff that I'm interested in, the stuff that I talk about, and all that.
And you also go to that other app. What is that other app that you go to?
Key Comics.
Key Comics. Comic Key.
Okay. Key Comics.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you go to all that stuff. Would you ever buy like a $10 magazine if it had that information in it?
And I didn't have the other stuff?
Well, I don't think they could take it off the internet.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I mean, my phone's much cheaper than $10. So I mean, I'd stick with my phone.
Yeah.
And then you learn more about the book too.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more information on the internet than you could put in a magazine per month. And then you have to get the distributors to, the LCSs to pick it up.
Yeah.
because that's probably the hardest part, I think, nowadays. What would give them the reason to? I mean, are you might advertise in there, but you're still going to have to pay for the printing and stuff. And the printing nowadays is crazy.
It's
Even if
insane.
it is the new newspaper pages, I mean, it's still a good pretty penny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it ever could happen again. Have
Yeah.
you
No, I
ever?
don't think so either.
No? I mean,
Even the only way I would see it is if they start like a gear more toward collectors and they actually have exclusives like they used to have. Um, I maybe, but it would never be. It would never be like with what they used to sell and those numbers like that. It's just and like you say, it would have to be like $10 a magazine at
yeah.
least.
And I
And
think there's one out there that's trying, and I just don't think that many people know about it. Again, because it costs per issue. I don't think they'd want to spend the money on the price guide as opposed to just going online and finding that information.
yeah, I know in Japan, like in Japan, China, they have these magazines. They're really thick and they sell like crazy, but they also have exclusive manga in there.
Manga's in it, right?
So if a person likes the manga that's in there, they'll buy it because they want to read it. And just the news is just the dressing, like the frosting. But
Yeah,
what they really want is the manga. But
yeah,
that would be one way to do it.
yeah. And manga, I mean, they have tons of great ideas. So that would be one way. He's starting a magazine like a comic on one side and then the price guide and information on the other side. That could work,
Yeah.
you
Or
know.
get or see if you could if you could land like top creators to do an exclusive comic for you
Yeah,
and put it inside the magazine. Let's hire Scott Snyder, for example,
yeah.
and he has a following that will buy that comic, who will buy
Oh
that
yeah,
magazine.
I mean, you get someone who's got a big name like that. Yeah, you can get a lot of stuff going.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That would be the only way to do it. I think.
Yeah,
I would love to, honestly, because like I said, Wizard for me was. Should I still have a whole drawer you full of Wizard magazines, and sometimes I flip through and I'm like, man, this was the best time.
yeah. It really was a great time in life. I mean, before the internet, all these great, artists that were coming out. It really was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it was a different world. It was a different world.
So, we're at the 45 minute mark. I do have one other topic that I didn't really bring up here, but, I did want to talk about, creating characters.
Right.
How do you avoid making like a Mary Sue? By Mary Sue, I mean like an overpowered character.
Mm.
So, a lot of creators, especially new and indie creators, want to make their characters more powerful than everybody else. But
Yeah.
does that help the story?
Oh,
It
Uh,
actually hurts it, don't you think?
yeah.
So
it does.
how do you prevent that?
Um, that's tough. I think honestly, you have to have a good writer. that, it all comes down to that. Yeah, you have to have a good writer because um, honestly, not a lot of people want to read a character that has all the qualities and none of the flaws.
Yeah.
That's why Superman is so hard to write,
Yeah.
because nobody can beat him.
Well, and
Yeah,
I find it funny, you got Superman, then you got like Ultraman, and then you got Omni Man, and you got all these copycats, if you will, but they're
right,
stronger and it's like, isn't he strong enough?
right, right. They keep adding more power to it. I'm like, Jesus, man, you want him to fail sometimes. That's
Yeah,
that's why I love Thor, but I don't want him to be infallible. I don't want him to win every damn battle. I want him to have a villain to kick his ass, and then he trains and recovers, and then eventually beat him. But it's just I don't know, man. That a lot of people fall in that trap. I know when the like for example when the new trilogy of Star Wars came with Ray, a lot of people were angry about Ray, but from like I was like, yeah, okay, she is a Mary Sue, but at the same time, like so was Luke.
Yeah,
Um, it's like Luke learned to be a Jedi in like 2 seconds flat, like like when and Obi Wan got killed like a few hours after he met him, basically. So
yeah,
it's just there. It's tough, man. That's
it
been
is.
happening forever, and it will happen. It's just you gotta avoid falling into that trap. It's hard to like for example, my main character. Look, I have five characters in my main comic. Jason, he's super strong, super agile, but he basically his weakness is the way he was brought up. He was brought up
Right.
by the military, and he has a hard time dealing with emotions. He doesn't know how to relate to people, and I have another character, Ralph, who is super powerful, but at the same time he cannot control his power,
Yeah.
and eventually, well, I don't want to say too much, but 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 he's young and reckless, right? And like having too much power sometimes can hurt you, but he will get his ass beat. Like they're not infallible, neither of them. And that's how I wanted it to be like that. I want because I don't like I said that's why Superman. I've never been a fan of Superman because he's just too damn powerful. Like,
Yeah.
he will win. you know,
And like I said, that's the funny thing is a lot of new creators just go in there and they're like, my character's strong or my character's this or my character's the best. And then it's like, how are you writing a story? How are you connecting with that audience, that humanity, that flaw, if there's none that your characters have?
sometimes there are flaws. Man, if anybody's listening to this, please listen. Um, Characters sometimes are defined by more by their flaws and are loved more by their flaws than by their powers. Look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man is super powerful, super agile, super fast, super whatever. But he's been beaten many times. He fails time and time again. Same thing with bless you.
Thank
Same
you.
thing with like Daredevil. Super powerful. A lot of super outer senses and all this stuff. But he still fails a lot of time. Punisher, the same thing. Like super. He can kill anybody. He has a huge arsenal of weapons, but he gets his butt handed to him time and time again. And you
Yeah.
want that. You want to see your character grow and go through it. Same thing with when I started collecting was Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine was like my guy, but it got to a point where yeah, you can have him to that damn molecule and he'll still grow back. So people got tired of it. Wolverine, I remember in the 90s, Wolverine was like Deadpool is right now. Like
Yeah.
you saw him everywhere. Like every comic had to have Wolverine, and people got tired of it. Because they knew he was gonna win, and I think you don't want to fall into that trap.
Did you watch Blue Beetle?
I haven't, man.
No.
It's
What
been
was that
crazy in my
movie
house, and
called?
I'm dying to see it. I'm dying to see it. Do you saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it good?
Yeah.
He loves
I
it.
would
There you
say it's
go.
like amazing, but
Yeah,
I thought it was good to watch.
It was worth watching at
It's
least
better
once.
than the Flash.
it
I
was
thought
better
it
than the
was
Flash.
This is
I
a
like
good.
the Flash.
I like the Flash.
I like the
To
Flash.
me, it wasn't as bad as everybody says it was. The Flash,
Oh no.
but I mean, it did have its flaws. So I mean,
A lot of them.
Yeah,
to me,
I
they were
agree.
both worth the watch at least once in a theater. To me.
Right. Yeah, I'm dying to see the Blue Beetle movie, and I'm actually I'm glad that they're gonna bring him to the new DC universe. Um,
I
which
are
and
they
I'm
real?
shocked.
I don't know. They've been on the fence back and forth about that still.
Well, I think James Gunn tweeted that he was gonna add him to the DCU, the
I
new
thought that
DCU.
was already confirmed. So
I'll
My
And I
look
was
eyes
into.
are going insane.
I'll look into it again. But last I checked, and I thought it was today that he was kind of up in the air still. But then
yeah.
again, that's because they were having a lot of problems still with a lot of stuff coming out. You
And with
never
the
know what's
sales
going
too,
on. Yeah, I
with
mean,
the sales numbers, that speaks more than what James Gunn might want.
well,
If the
because
movie doesn't sell,
Blue Beetle kind of bombed. I mean, it really bombed. They said it was worse than the Flash.
Yeah, but that's just DC going down.
the
Just
pro,
saying.
yeah, that man. Honestly, look, I don't want to go through this rabbit hole, but I honestly feel like if DC wanted to end their universe, they should have
Yeah.
just cancel everything.
Yeah,
And if they were gonna put the new Blue Beetle movie, just say flat out, this is the start of the new universe, and
yep.
that's it. Go from there. But if you are gonna put out a movie like the Aquaman movie that's coming now, I don't even know it's this year, next year. I don't even know when it's coming out. Are they gonna bring him to the new universe? I don't even know. Like
No,
I'll be
Aquaman. Yeah.
I'll be shocked if it makes, because the first movie made killed it killed in the movie theater, but I don't think this one will even be close to it.
I don't think any movie's going to be doing good
For a while.
for a while. I mean, I think right here before October, there's going to be two good movies that are coming out, but not a superhero movie. So I don't.
Yeah. No, I don't honestly, I don't think I don't know. I think the times those times of movies making $2 billion and stuff like that, I think those trends are gone.
I think they need to take a break,
Yeah.
then kind of come back with it. Obviously, Marvel has a lot of stuff in the works, so they're not going to stop. But I don't know. I don't know if Fantastic Four can save it. You know, I don't know if their new
Depending on
Avengers.
the cast. They
We'll
better
see.
bring a good cast, because I don't see it.
We'll see. I don't think the
Yeah.
Marvels is going to do good. The Marvels is the next one coming out, I think.
Yeah,
And
I don't think
they
it'll do
just
much
released
better
the
than
trailer.
what's that?
They just released the Marvels trailer, and everyone's saying it was bad. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet, but it was released today, and a lot of people said that the trailer for the Marvels was bad. So I don't know.
I haven't seen the new trailer, but I don't think it'll do much better than Blue Beetle.
You know,
I just don't see it. I don't see it. But hey, I've been wrong before. We'll see.
right? I've been wrong. Hopefully things get better. But then again, you know the Marvels movie, all the Marvel movies in DC really didn't do much for the comics that much.
Right. So it won't affect us either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is,
And that's what it is.
man. So are you doing any like shows? Are you any on any shows? Or what's going on with you,
I
man?
Yeah, I am actually gonna be this coming Saturday. I'm be on a convention called Norfolk Zine Fest. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's basically, it's a scene fest, but it's a comic book convention. They're trying to open new venues, and this time we're gonna do it in a mall here
Okay.
in Virginia. So I'm kind of excited about that. Um, but yeah, I have a few things. And I can't even remember all the events. My wife has to be like, all right, next week you're going to this place. Next week you're going to this place. I can't keep track, bro. But if anybody wants to keep stay in touch with me and know where I'll be in the next few weeks and next few months, they can go to truthfulcomics.com, and I have my whole upcoming event schedule, and that even I have to keep up with that because
Right.
it's too many. I'm trying to stay
Yeah.
busy, man.
So, and you got another comic coming on Kickstarter soon? When's that coming out?
I do. It launches in September on September 30th.
And the
It's
name
the
of that is,
Avandros. What's that?
the name was
The Avandros Theory.
okay.
It's the Avandros Theory. It's a second issue of the Avandros Theory. In issue number one, it's basically a sci-fi anthology. And in the first issue, I had half of the story, part one. And now on the second issue, I have the second part, which concludes my story. And there's going to be three other creators in it. It's going to be Corey Bland, it's going to be Brian Lacy, and CL Zeno.
That's awesome. And where can people buy Project New Wave? Because like I said, beautiful, beautiful book.
Thank you,
I
man. I
love it.
appreciate
I
that.
really love it.
Project New Wave. Again, my website, truthfulcomics.com.
Truthful
That's where you
comment.
can find all my comics and my good friend Alvaro Cortez. His comics. He's my partner in Truthful Comics, and his comics are there too. So he has his character is called the Mighty Warlord. It's like a romance action drama type of story. It's really cool. Really cool.
Manny, it's always great talking to you. Like I said, if
Likewise, man.
everybody would take a note from your book, be a better place, a better world.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, that means a lot coming from you, man.
And this is,
Dylan Moore.
and you catch any of his items for sale on eBay. Hardest working kid in comics.
Yeah, just don't search that up on Facebook.
eBay, that's right. And my name is Paul Gomez. I am Paul Gomez 790.
What'd you do?
I don't know, but you can bring back the video.
Oh,
No, you don't need to. But
there
I'm
you
Paul
go.
Gomez 790. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm mostly on Facebook. If you got a problem, if you need to know anything about comics, I will help you with whatever I know. If I don't know, I'll find somebody that does. And like I always say, if you're having a problem, if you just need somebody to talk to, Paul Gomez 790 on Facebook, anytime. If I'm asleep, I won't answer, but if I am, I'll be glad to have a conversation with you. Have a great
Likewise.
week.